of you here today. And most importantly, I'm so excited for all of you to see each other's faces because you've all been working so hard. You've seen the WhatsApp groups, you're all encouraging each other. It's such good energy that we've been seeing from all of you, and I'm really excited to have this conversation today. Just want to give a heads up for any of you, if your friends are trying to join the meeting, we do have a cap. So we've reached our student cap, but this meeting will be streamed onto YouTube, and they can consult us there. We can also do another live session if there's interest from all of you. Samuel, I'm seeing your San Francisco background. That's exciting. That's where I'm based right now. So why don't we do a little icebreaker before we, jump right into answering your questions, and, I really want to hear about your experiences as well. I know many of you are fasting for Ramadan, so thank you so much for joining, even though there must be so much on your shoulders right now. So thank you so much. Want to do a quick question. You can send in the chat. You want to send your name, where you're from, and what was the last thing that you ate. So let's just do that for a couple minutes. I think it'd be really cool to see everyone's answers from all over the world. And if you have enough internet, it'd be really, really wonderful if you could keep your video on. I completely understand you might not have enough internet, but so good. I see the Brazilian flag. We have students from India, very exciting. Turkey. Rwanda. Panama, that's so exciting. Oman. Students from Oman and Panama last year. I don't think we had any students from Oman and Panama, so welcome. We're really glad to have you. Great. We can keep the chat active. I'm going to go ahead and share a message from our faculty director, Tarun Khanna, at Harvard Business School. Some of you may have taken his course on Harvard X. I'm really excited to hear about your experiences in that, but I'll hand it over to him really quickly.
Anna, congratulations for making. Hi, I'm Tarun Khanna. Congratulations for making it this far in Crossroads. You folks have been absolutely amazing. We're so proud of all the work that you've done to get this far. We know that many of you have worked through internet shutdowns, pandemics, civil instability, family hardships. But really our hope is that you persevere, because the goal of our program is nothing less than just providing you with the tools so that you can imagine your own futures, reimagine your futures, and to connect you with fellow leaders like yourselves from different parts of the world. Applications came in this year from over 130, 140 countries. Connect you also with potential mentors, resources, faculty members, to identify how it is that you can take your own futures forward, in effect. Now, you've had the opportunity, many of you, to take courses from public health to technology entrepreneurship to the digital humanities, and this is just the beginning. In a few weeks, we'll start to connect you with several faculty members, of course, my colleagues at Harvard, but also other peer institutions in the United States and some from other countries, so that you can participate in live interactive sessions. If you make it through the different rounds to the semifinal round, you will then begin an extended learning journey, which will take you through another curriculum, more mentorship opportunities, and the possibility to compete for internships, scholarship funds, et cetera, et cetera. So again, welcome to Crossroads. Congratulations again on making it this far, spending time working towards your future. Keep working. And I hope that we keep on connecting this way and maybe at some point physically. Good luck.
Cool. I think that was Tarun Khanna, who's the co-founder of the Crossroads Emerging Leaders Program and is currently a faculty member at the Harvard Business School, alongside Karim Lakhani, who's the other co-founder of Crossroads. So I hope it was exciting to hear from him. There's lots more of him to come in the future steps of the program. So just want to take a second now, just like he said, to say congratulations for making it this far. You were selected from thousands and thousands of students, and you were able to get to the stage, and there's so much more coming, as Darren also said. I'm also going to run a couple polls just so we get a sense of who's in the room, and you can all get to know each other a little bit, and also understand the experiences of your peers. So we'll just do like 20 seconds for each poll. You can just answer quickly, so just so we can get a sense of who's in the room. So what region are you in right now? I know many of you said it's countries, but it's also helpful to get a sense of continent. Many students from Latin America. That's so exciting. We've got a couple students in North America. Welcome. Excited to have you here. A couple students from South Asia, Middle East. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. This was helpful. So just so you guys can see, Latin America has really upped the representation in the room. So really glad to have so many of you here. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see that. Now you can see. There we go. Just one more question and then we can jump in. So what are you feeling excited for? So many of you have completed your Harvard X course. Many of you have even completed your Aspiring Minds exam. For those of you who haven't, once you complete your Harvard X course, you will get details for Aspiring Minds. But yeah, it would be really helpful to get a sense of what you're excited for. Estefan asked if they can select more than one. I wish I should have set it up that way, but yeah, I hope connecting with Crossroads peers is at the forefront of all of your minds. I know many of you are asking questions in the chat. That is the main purpose of this session. So we will definitely get to every one of your questions in the chat. Miftahul, you are right. We have reached the capacity of the Zoom meeting, so we cannot let new students into the meeting room. But this event is being streamed onto YouTube, so the students, if they can watch it later on YouTube to get the information, and we can also host another live session. Great. Okay, cool. It was really, really cool to get a sense of what you're excited for. And I will also talk more about each of these three things in today's session. So this is what you all said: connecting with Crossroads peers, interactive sessions. And then this last piece I will talk about towards the end, which is the next stage of the program, which is the semi-finalist application. Cool. Great. So I'm excited to have you all here. I just want to give, for those of you who are just joining more recently, a quick overview of what you have already done and all the steps you need to complete before the next program stage, as well as we've updated some of our deadlines, and I know there are some general questions, so I want to go through those first before we open it up for Q&A. Does that sound good to everyone? Cool. So first, congratulations on making it this far, as we've said. I hope all of you at this time have been able to start and make some headway on your Harvard X courses. I know our original deadline was today, but we realized that many of you were having trouble, accessing the code. We know it was kind of a confusing process. So we've extended the deadline to April 30th to make sure that you all have the time that you need to succeed as much as you can in this program. If you still are having trouble with your code, please contact us as soon as possible, because we can share. Our team is here to help you, and we can get you the information you need to succeed. There are 5 different courses. Does anyone want to share, which course they took and something that they learned from the course so far? Anyone, feel free to raise your hand and I can call on you. Sandor, go ahead. Also, let me know if I pronounced your name incorrectly.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks. Yeah, I took from lab to market. I was great because now I'm working on 2 projects. So it helped a lot on some things, on discussing market opportunities, and I loved it. And I didn't knew that Harvard Crossroads was a thing. I'm from Chile, and I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. So thanks, guys, and hope to talk to you someday. And that's all. Thanks.
That's amazing. Thanks, Sandor. Yes, that's really cool. I think I liked what he said, because the goal of the program in general is to give you the tools you need to succeed in what you want to succeed in. That's why we provide so many resources across an array of disciplines, because you all have so many different passions across so many different fields. But the goal is to give you these practical tools you need to succeed. How about we hear from Victoria? What course did you take? How are you feeling about it?
Are you listening to me now?
Yes.
Yes. Hello, guys. I took the Leadership in Emerging Economies course. It was really great because it was really focused on health, and it was a really great experience, especially in the pandemic times that we are living. So I was really, really excited in learning from that, from our host that was talking with us before, and the faculty director. So it was really, really, really nice. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Victoria, for sharing. And yeah, Darun actually taught the Entrepreneurship and Emerging Economies course. So that's exciting that you're also getting to experience a classroom with him. Let's do one more student. Yasmin, do you want to? I'll also correct me if I said your name wrong as well. Are you able to share? Okay, great.
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Moraes and I'm from Brazil. I took an introduction to digital humanities and it was a wonderful course. I'm really happy to have this opportunity because I have learned a lot with the course, and it was completely important to my research at university because I learned a lot of new things and I am really happy for this experience. Thank you.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, so great to hear from you. So great to hear that you're all learning so much. I also know that these courses have been really difficult. I know you're all so busy. I know for many of you, it's exam time. We're all still living through COVID-19 crisis. And so I also just want to check in about, what was difficult. So I'm going to send out another poll to all of you. So feel free to answer. We know many of you have been struggling with getting consistent internet. I know in Lahore, there was an internet shutdown. I know for many of you, English is your 4th language, your 5th language. So of course that can be challenging in these courses. So getting a sense of what the biggest challenges has been helpful for us as well. Cool, do like 5 more seconds to answer. Yeah, and also feel free to send notes in the chat. Ani, thank you for letting us know that you still don't have your access code. Please email our team at celpglobal@gmail.com, because we really want to get you the information and all the resources you need to succeed. So Ani, please reach out to us. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. So this is what you all said. Internet, of course, is so difficult. Many of you are joining, just completing these courses on your phones, which is amazing. And I know, data can be inconsistent too. And I think what's been really mind-blowing is how many of you have been balancing Crossroads with your midterms, with your finals. And I know that around the world, it seems to be finals and midterm season. So thanks so much for working so hard. Great. So that was really helpful for us. I think I want to anticipate also what is coming next. So like I said, we've extended the deadline for the Harvard X courses until April 30th, because we know that you've been facing, that, set of challenges in completing these courses. For those of you who have already completed, congratulations. Very proud of you for we're working through all of those things as well. Once you complete the course, within 2 to 3 days after you complete the course, you should receive an invitation from Aspiring Minds to complete the 1 hour long virtual assessment on their website. Has anyone anyone in this room already completed the Aspiring Minds stage? Let's see. Lara, I don't know if you.
Hi.
Hi.
It's Yara.
Yara,
Yara Targino. Isso. Oh, yes. Yes, I did my Aspiring Minds test. I believe it was Sunday. And it was a great opportunity for me because I never had taken a test like this. And I feel I have felt a little bit of discomfort because I never did a test like this, but I did it. So thank you.
For sure. Yara, stay on for a second. Do you want to tell them a little bit about what it was like, to receive the code and then you get your login credentials and, what the process of making sure you have the internet connection for the whole time was, just some of the logistics that you went through?
Yes, well, I received the email about a week ago, so I read well all the instructions, and I know that the test took about 60 minutes to be done. So I established a moment for my day that I believe that I could do the test without any interruptions. So I took the test. There were 4 stages. One focusing on the language skill, other on the logistics or knowledge on logistics, other in mathematics, and the last one, it was to build a little essay, a little paragraph on the subject that they proposed to us. Mine was on, I believe it was on nuclear weapons. So I had to do I had to build a little paragraph on the team. It was easy, but it was also difficult because I was really nervous.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. That was really, really helpful. I just want to, circle back on 2 things that Yara said. The first is that, it can seem daunting and it can seem very, stressful, to get it done with the amount of time. We know that the time is short, but just stay calm and work calmly through everything instead of, trying to rush it, because you don't get scored based on how many questions you can answer, but rather, the work that you do on the questions that you do get to. So we actually have an alumni with us who was very successful on the MCAT last year. Mary, are you trying to find you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. Do you want to share some advice on succeeding in the MCAT?
Okay, so when I was listening to her, she was talking about how she was really nervous. I think you should be calm if you're nervous. Even if you know the answer, you won't be able to do it. It's just to test your knowledge. It's not really to make you feel or anything. So you shouldn't really be anxious. It's just logic simple mathematics, as she said, just a paragraph of an essay, just sharing your idea on a question or something. And also, when I was applying, I had internet issues. So maybe if you can get a backup, I don't know, because immediately your internet disconnects, it kind of locks you out just to make sure you're not cheating, maybe. So if it's possible to get a backup internet, it will be helpful. Although I didn't, so I had to kind of wait for the Wi-Fi to come back before I do it. And yeah, it's not anything too difficult. Don't stress yourself. Maybe trying to learn mathematics, calculus, or something. It's not really difficult. Just take your time and do it, and you'll be fine. Don't rush. Don't rush. Yeah, just don't rush at all. Just take your time and do it. It's not about how many you answered. It's about how well you answered it. So even if it was 5 and you answered it well, it's better than you answering everything and not answering it well. That is the little that I can say.
Yes, thank you so much, Mary. Also, Mary, do you want to give a little bit of background on, you're an engineering student, you want to share, your academic background and where you are, just so the students have a sense. Mary. Internet is tough for all of us. So Mary will come back in, but thanks so much. Oh, maybe you're there. Okay. No worries. But yes, in summary, Aspiring Minds, you'll get the credentials as soon as you complete within 1 to 2 days, 2 to 3 days. Sorry. You'll get the credentials within 2 to 3 days after you finish your Harvard X course. And then it's a 1 hour long assessment that you have 1 week to complete. It's not extremely challenging. Just take your time and believe in yourself, and you will be able to succeed. Does anyone want to share any last comments on the aspiring? Oh, sorry, Mary. Go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, I think the settings doesn't allow you to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so let me introduce myself. I'm Mary Diodu. I'm currently in my final year in Ashesi University in Ghana, and I'm studying electrical and electronics engineering. I'm 23 years old, and aside engineering, I also love accounting, economics, making the society a better place. So aside having my personal for-profit businesses, I also have social enterprises just to make the community a better place. Yeah. And first person in my family, not just like maybe generation, my entire family to be in the university. So maybe that can be a fun fact or something. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mary. Yeah, Mary's amazing. Every time she hops on one of these calls, it's so good to have her energy in the room. So thanks so much, Mary, for joining. I know there's a lot of questions coming in the chat, so I just want to kind of wrap up, in terms of getting everything prepared for the next stage of the program. So you complete your Harvard X course, you qualify for the Aspiring Minds exam, and the last thing is that you need to complete the growth mindset survey on Submittable. So on the Submittable platform where you completed your initial application, you need to make sure you submit that additional form that's on the website. Most of you, I think, have completed that form. If you've completed that form, maybe you can give a thumbs up. But again, in order to qualify as a semifinalist, you do need to complete the growth mindset form alongside the Aspiring Minds and Harvard X courses. Great. Okay. Now I can jump into some Q&A about, these 3 steps of the process, if that sounds good. I know, you have many questions coming in. I saw some in the chat. So just going to reiterate those, and then, you can raise your hand and we'll unmute you for questions about Harvard X, Aspiring Minds, or this growth mindset questions. So again, the deadline for Harvard X is April 30th. After you do that, you'll receive the Aspiring Minds invitation. you do not have to complete 5 courses in Harvard X. We have offered you 5 courses. Please complete 1 course, and you can earn a fully funded certificate in 1 course. That certificate you can put on your resume, you can put on your LinkedIn, which we will talk about. You can send to graduate schools, you can send to future employers. So make sure you save that certificate once you get it. If you are having trouble with the identity verification, that does not affect your admission into the next stage of the program. So even if you complete your course by April 30th, but it still is taking 5 to 7 days for the identity verification, that's okay. We can see that you've completed the course, so you're all set on our end. I hope that answers some of the most pressing questions. And now I'm going to go through the chat and see if there's any more. Aldo from South Sudan is really interested in sharing. So Aldo, maybe we can hear from you. I think you're still muted.
Mute. Good. Yes, my name is Aldo. I'm from South Sudan, and of course, it's a war-torn country. And basically, doing this course was something that I must be able to say it's a blessing. Working with the refugees and also right here in South Sudan, the internet is one thing. I actually got something very fascinating when I was doing the AMCAT. The internet had to jump off, and I could consider doing it late at night when the people who are using internet are too few, so that I could be able to do it. But I did it with passion, and I was able to get the best score, at least 96, from strengthening the community health. It's something that I realized was able to shape my activities here in the IDP camp, because just 3 months back, I was doing a campaign basically to deliver assorted medical and improve on the community access. The floods, despite the war, 10 years plus war in South Sudan, just last year by June, the flooding of the River Nile also made the people to actually become IDPs again. So it's between war and a natural disaster. And we started that the camp was in flux, that the health was not there. We had to deliver in and set up a community health system, which up to now, after doing this course, we immediately rolled out the second phase of this project. And this very course was actually what helped me to set up the next project, realizing that having even the GBV activities incorporated in a health women group, something like that, it's something very awesome. I must be able to say I'm pleased to join this webinar and share my experience also as well. I met new friends from Syria who also share their same experience of how war has affected Syria. And I was able to personally even meet them on Facebook, chat with them, and I realized my situations here in South Sudan are not only exception to me, but also somewhere someone is suffering just like me, but I was able to provide hope. That's something very great. I want to appreciate everyone who has just joined in this webinar. Thank you very much. I'm Aldo from South Sudan, Juba.
Thank you so much, Aldo, for sharing. And that's really amazing, because that's the entire goal of the program, is that so you can connect to students. Aldo is connecting to students in Syria who have experienced similar things to him and also have similar visions for how they want to, take action in their communities. And the goal of this program is to provide you with knowledge, and then also provide you with the tools you need to mobilize that knowledge to pursue what you want to pursue the community change you want to pursue the academic growth you want to pursue, and all that. So thank you so much, Aldo, for sharing. It's really, really good to hear from you. We care so much about all of your experiences and want to create the environment for you to succeed as much as possible. I know many of you are confused about the growth mindset form. You should have received this form on Submittable. So your initial application was through the Submittable platform. On that platform, we've sent you an additional form, which is the growth mindset form. I think 60 to 70% of you have completed that. If you haven't completed that, please make sure you do so before the semifinalist selection at the end of April. And yes, Yara, thank you so much for answering some of these questions in the chat as well. Really appreciate that. Again, I'm just gonna see if there's any more questions that keep coming up. Yuri, I think, let me know if I'm saying your name incorrectly, is asking what the AMCAT is. Maybe you joined a little bit late. The AMCAT is a 1 hour long virtual assessment. Once you complete one Harvard X course, you will be able to access the details for that assessment. They'll be emailed to you directly. I also appreciate that you're all sharing LinkedIn, sharing WhatsApp, sharing Discord servers. It's really, part of what we create is the opportunity for you all to connect with each other, like Aldo was saying. So, stay active and connect with each other through those platforms. Someone, Ulukan, let me know if I'm saying your name incorrectly. I really want to make sure I'm pronouncing them right. But asked, how can I make sure I have the form? The growth mindset survey is automatically in your submittable account. So just check your submittable account and the growth mindset survey will be there. But thanks for asking. Okay. Does anyone have more pressing questions on Harvard X, Aspiring Minds, or the growth mindset survey? Sumit is asking, how many days will you get the certificate after completing the course? You just need to make sure that you're able to verify your identity, and that is the only step between completing the course and getting your certificate. The identity verification, some of you might have IDs that are not in English, of course. So that's why it takes a little bit longer for the turnaround of the ID verification, because edX is based in the US. But just be patient, it will work out. Give it 5 to 7 days for the identity verification to work out. The identity verification does not affect your qualification to the next round, to the semifinalist round. Okay. I see many of you asking about the semifinalist stage, so I'm going to transition into speaking about that. So the goal of this workshop is essentially to give you a heads up on what's next. What's next? So maybe we can make sure we're keeping ourselves muted. Yeah, sorry, make sure you're keeping yourselves muted, but thanks so much. So the goal of this session is to give you a heads up on what's next. What's next is different depending on where in the application process you are. Some of you are still working your Harvard X courses. That's totally fine. Some of you have already completed Aspiring Minds, already completed your growth mindset survey, and so you're just waiting for what's next. So that's what we'll talk about today. I'm going to share my screen. 1 year into the virtual world and I still get confused on Zoom. Okay, so we want to give you the tools that you need to anticipate what's coming next in the Crossroads Emerging Leaders Program. So here are kind of a list of academic and professional resources that we want to talk you through so that you can get a sense of what's coming. So the semifinalist application will be released after May on a rolling basis from May 1st to the second week of May for students who qualify for that stage. So again, in order to qualify, you need to complete a Harvard X course, you need to submit your Aspiring Minds assessment, and you need to complete the growth mindset survey. After that, you will all receive a list to a link to a longer application, which consists of these 4 components. You'll need a resume. Some of you already have that. You'll need to build your LinkedIn profile. Many of you have also already done that. Most importantly, you'll need to request your academic transcripts, which can be an arduous process depending on what the situation of your university is. And you also need to request letters of recommendation. So this is what we will talk about in a couple minutes, but this is the application for the semifinalist stage. So what this means is that students who complete this application will be eligible to participate in the intensive finalist curriculum that will be taking place over the last 2 weekends in July. They will also be eligible for the internship and mentorship opportunities that we have lined up. So that is what it means to be a semifinalist. For those of you who don't qualify for the semifinalist stage, that's not the end of the program for you. We have a lot of programming. We can still connect you to Harvard faculty members. You can still stay active in the Crossroads community, and you can still continue to, access really tangible resources that you can use for your professional and academic development. So one of those things is that we will have live interactive sessions with Harvard faculty members throughout May and June. And so this is exclusive to Crossroads students. So everyone in this room will be able to attend those sessions, and they'll cover an array of disciplines, anything from engineering, like Mary studies, to Sandor, who's thinking about entrepreneurship. We'll have an array of faculty members, both based at Harvard and peer institutions in the US and some other countries, to take you through a 60, 90-minute journey on what that professor is passionate about. Was anyone in the Crossroads virtual program last year in this room? It's okay if not, but if anyone was, kind of a long shot. But those sessions last year, we had one on bioengineering and how we can think about augmenting human performance. So how can we expand what the human body can do? My favorite one was about Islamic conceptions of animal rights. So that sounds confusing. It's a little hard to grasp what that session would be on, but the Dean of Harvard Law School, Kristen Stilt, was able to take us through this really amazing session that talked about activism, that talked about spirituality. We got to hear from a young vegan activist based in Beirut. We got to think about generational gaps, we got to think about generational change, and it really just expanded the realm of what I knew. And I actually left the session with more questions that I had than when I entered the session. So that was a really cool experience. So I really encourage you all to stay active and participate in those Harvard faculty sessions, because it is, I think it's a really special opportunity, really special program. Does anyone have any questions on the Harvard faculty sessions? You can go ahead and raise your hand if you have questions about that. Gideon, do you want to?
Hi.
Hi.
You can get me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so my name is Gideon Kipwech from Kenya, Africa. The question I have about the sessions you're talking about is, you are saying everyone in this room will be able to participate in them, but semi-finalists will have sort of a different curriculum or schedule of sorts. So the organization, is it that there will be different sessions, or will we have instances of these sessions clashing with what the semi-finalists will need to be doing in their line?
Yes, thank you, Gideon. That was a really good question. I totally hear you. So Gideon's question was that it sounds like the semifinalists will be pursuing a different kind of track of study versus these sessions. That's not true. The semifinalists should also be active participants in these sessions with Harvard faculty members, and the curriculums, they don't coincide. The finalist curriculum is in July, and these sessions are coming up in May and June, so they don't conflict. Actually, it'll be very simultaneous. As the semifinalists are completing their longer applications, which we can talk about in a second, the sessions will be going on during that time. So they'll be simultaneous. We encourage you all to stay active and participate in the sessions, because you'll really, you'll learn so much. Does anyone else have, Miftahul, do you have a question on these sessions?
Okay, hi. Nice to meet you again. And I just have a question that what is the requirement that, in this stage particularly would give me in the next stage as semi-finalist or from semi-finalist to finalist? I need to
Yes.
complete the course very well, or do all the quizzes and exams do very good, or something like that? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate you asking that question. So with the whole, also, where are you based? Are you?
Well, I'm in Bangladesh. I have met you in the Asian University for Women meeting. Yeah.
Okay, great. So she's joining from Bangladesh, and the question is, how hard do you have to focus on the Harvard X course, and how do we assess your performance in the course? So our goal is not to, measure you based just on your grades. We know that, coming from low income backgrounds, many of you may not have had opportunities to, study English to the proficiency that the course requires. Many of you are very busy. You're working as well as being in school, as well as taking care of your family. So we don't want to reduce you just to the grade that you get in the course. So I hope that answers your question. However, I do encourage you to keep working on the course, to see it through, even if your grades are not perfect, to make sure that you put in enough effort to really learn something and gain something from the course, because that's something that we can see and understand. So for example, Aldo shared his story about, how he was able to implement the knowledge he got in the course and talk to students on Facebook from Syria. He's able to take some of the knowledge back to the camp and the delivering medical supplies. I think that was correct. Things like that are things that you'll learn from the course. That's really interesting from us. And so I guess the goal of, in terms of qualifying for the next couple rounds is, tell your story. And you can also use the courses, use these faculty sessions, use the connections you're making with your peers to tell a story about yourself, which is the most interesting part of it, I think. Mary, as an alumna of the program, do you have advice on that?
I'm so sorry. My internet is a little off. Could you repeat what you said again?
I guess the question is what should students prioritize in terms of preparing to be selected for the next round? Like, what can they do in terms of meeting the requirements of the program?
Is it concerning the AMCAT test or after the test?
After the test.
Oh, okay. So I think they would state what is required of you. So at least you should get your transcript. You should get your resume. You should at least get two people who can give you recommendations. Maybe your faculty in university, someone you worked with, maybe your supervisor at an internship place, someone who can actually recommend you. And I think you should also prepare yourself to just be open-minded, to embrace whatever happens, whether you get accepted or not. But hopefully you get accepted, and try to connect with your peers as much as possible, because you might be missing something out that they know. So you should just keep yourself updated on what is going on, when you should hear from them. Yeah, and I think you'll be fine. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Mary. And yeah, I think the last point Mary made, stay connected to your peers, because we know there's a lot of information that you're getting from the Crossroads team. And, some of the questions you have, some of the gaps in your knowledge, your peers will be able to answer your questions. Thank you for asking that question with the whole. So good to see you again. Mary mentioned, the different components that we have on the semifinalist application. So I want to take some time right now. I know many of you have questions. We want to answer all your questions, but this might, this session, the goal of the session is to answer your questions. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the components that Mary mentioned. So going back here, can everyone see this? So this document is one that we will continue to add to, and that we will share all of you on after this session. The goal of this is to not only prepare you for the semi-finalist application of the Crossroads Emerging Leaders Program. But these are also all skills and resources that you should build to have in your, personal, academic, and professional development database. And so that's the goal of what we're going through right now. So there are 4 pieces of the semi-finalist application as a heads up. So the first is a resume, which many of you have submitted. Second is LinkedIn profile. Many of you have submitted that already. And then the 2 brand new pieces are the academic transcript and the letter of recommendation. In addition to these components, the semi-finalist application will consist of a personal statement. It will also require you to complete a virtual interview. So those 2 pieces, Mary, maybe you can share some insights about that towards the end of the session, but just want to talk through these questions right now because I know it's on many of your minds. So what is a resume? So a resume is a chance for you to condense your relevant educational experiences and professional experiences, as well as your skills. This is a place where you can share your goals and share what you're working towards and show all of the work that you've done to get there. And so there are kind of 5 aspects of this that your resume should contain. You should have an introduction to who you are. So kind of like a headline of like, I am this kind of student and I'm looking for opportunities in this, or something else that's more relevant to you. Like I have this much experience in this field and I'm looking to branch out in something new. You want to provide your educational background. So at this stage, what that would entail is providing your university details. You want to provide your course of study. You want to provide some sort of, maybe your GPA or maybe some of the classes that you took. And then also if you've worked, you want to share your work history. You also want to share relevant skills. So relevant skills are any of the skills that you have developed as a person that can help you succeed academically or professionally. So relevant skills, maybe you're a really effective communicator. Maybe you're a storyteller. Maybe you are someone who's really good at coordinating. Maybe you're really, really good at social media. Maybe, you're a very active poster. You have many followers. People love to see your posts. Those are all skills. So that brings me to the final point of the resume, which is, you don't underestimate the value of your accomplishments. So for example, when I was in university, I worked at a coffee shop. And I, because I was working in the coffee shop alongside doing my studies, and I actually learned a lot from working in the coffee shop. I learned how to be a team player. I learned how to think on my feet. I learned how to learn new things quickly. So those are all types of skills that you can put on your resume. And so even though my professional goal was not to continue to work in that environment, I learned a lot of skills that I could use towards my professional development. So if you've worked in a restaurant or you've worked as a mechanic, things like that, you're learning a lot of skills there that you can put on your resume. So don't underestimate the value of your own experiences. The same kind of advice goes for your LinkedIn profile, which is most importantly a professional networking tool. So you can use this to connect with your peers. You can use this to connect with the faculty directors at Crossroads. You can also use this to connect with future employers. The cool thing about LinkedIn is it's a really, really social platform, and it's not just a place where you can put your resume. It's where you can, really, tell a story about yourself. You can use images, you can use pictures, all those kinds of things. We have, 3 kind of main tips for your success on LinkedIn. The first is make sure you have a profile picture. This seems, a kind of silly first step, but it is really, really helpful to put a face to a name and a face to a story. So make sure you have a photo with your, head and shoulders, just kind of how all of you are on the Zoom screen. Make sure you select a high quality or good quality photo with that. You can build in your resume on LinkedIn. Many of you have done this, but if you have not yet, incorporate everything that's on your resume. You want to just put it on your LinkedIn. But that's just the beginning of what you can do on LinkedIn. You can do so much more to tell a story about yourself. Like I said, all of these skills are things that you can really emphasize in LinkedIn. You can also, get your peers and colleagues to vouch for you on LinkedIn. So maybe you have been really spending a lot of time, building community in this Crossroads program. And so you can list community building as one of your skills, and all of your peers in Crossroads who have seen the work you've done to build community in this program can advocate for you, and they can recommend you for that skill. Again, don't underestimate the value of your past experiences. For both your resume and your LinkedIn, we are not looking for students who have already had 15 internships, who have had so many opportunities. That's really not the goal of the Crossroads Emerging Leaders Program. The goal of Crossroads is for us to provide you with those opportunities. So you don't need to come into the program with having those already set. You can, just tell a story about your experiences that have already been there. Again, like we've been saying, believe in yourself, don't be intimidated. You really do have the potential to be successful in this program. So that's just a recap of the resume and LinkedIn. I'm going to stop sharing just so I can see if folks have, okay, great. Lots of LinkedIn sharing going on. Very cool. Yes, Jonathan, we will send these details over email with you. Jayshree has asked, where would you submit the resume and LinkedIn? You would submit those on your semifinalist application. Which if you are invited to that round, that's when you would work on these things. Again, I want to make clear that some of you may not make it to the semifinalist round, and so you won't make it to the stage where you need to submit all these documents. That doesn't mean that your participation in the Crossroads program is over. So stay positive, stay encouraged, and we really do encourage you to participate in those faculty sessions with Harvard faculty members. Unless anyone has any, Raphael asked if people who have already graduated will be considered for the next rounds. Yes, if you're in this room right now, you're eligible for the semifinalist stage, provided you complete all of the requirements to get there. The next two things I wanted to talk about are the requesting your university transcript, because that it is really important that we have that, and also requesting your letters of recommendation. Both of these things don't spend energy on right now, because you just start this process once you receive your invitation to the semifinalist round. But we want to give you a heads up that this is what you need to anticipate will come in your future. Also, I know there's many details. Again, many of you are asking questions, what has to be in English, what doesn't have to be in English. Those are really important questions, and I want you to be able to anticipate all of that by the time you get your semifinalist application. So I'm going to share my screen again. Cool. So an academic transcript. So the academic transcript has to be a formal document from your university that provides information about your academic history at the institution. So there are many ways of accessing your academic transcript. The best advice that I have is to reach out to the registrar or the administrative office of your university, and they should be able to provide you with this official document. If your university is striking, if your university is, if you can't get in touch with the registrar's office, please write to us, and we will do our best to support you and understand your situation. Mary, do you maybe want to say a little bit about how you accessed your transcript last year?
Okay, so fortunately for me, if you need your transcript from my school, you just have to put in a letter to the office and it will be provided. We also have a student platform where you have access to your official transcript even before you graduate. But I think with other schools, it's same. You provide in a letter and it will be given to you. And with the letter of recommendation, I think there were some conditions that came with it. I don't clearly remember. It doesn't have to be someone personal, maybe her father or mom, but maybe a faculty, an internship supervisor, someone that can vouch for you who is not a relative per se. So I used my academic faculties, and I also used my supervisor at my internship. I think you would just have to provide their mails, and Crossroad will request for the recommendations from them. So you don't have to write it or submit it. It will be submitted on your behalf. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Mary. Yes. So Mary at Mary's University, she was able to just reach out to the registrar's office and they were able to provide the transcript. If that's not the case for you, reach out to us. If it's more complicated, we want to help you access that document. So reach out to us and we'll do our best to support you. It does not have to be in English. And also if it's blurry, just make sure that we can read it. The goal is to understand that it's an official document from your university. And that is really important when we select our finalists. Again, I know some of you are wondering, do I have to do this now? Do I have to send this now? No, you don't have to send any of these documents to us right now. Once you receive the invitation to the finalist application, then you need these documents. I hope that makes sense. So again, right now, sit tight. We just want to give you an idea of what's coming in the future. And the next thing that we want to talk about, like Mary mentioned, at the tail end of her comment is the letter of recommendation. So I'm just going to pull up details on that. So what is the letter of recommendation? So the reason why I want to go through this slowly and clearly is because many of you may attend universities or be in countries where letters of recommendation are not a very regular thing to ask for from professors or from universities. So I want to be clear on what this is so that you can share clearly what is expected of the person who will write your letter of recommendation. So letter of recommendation is a chance for a mentor, work supervisor, teacher, professor, or community leader to help you stand out. So essentially they can tell a story about you, they can advocate for your skills, they can help us understand who you are as a person or as a student or as a leader. We have a couple of tips for succeeding in first requesting letter of recommendation and also receiving one that's positive. The first one is, you want to be sure that you're able to give your recommender some time. So request your letter 2 to 4 weeks in advance of the letter deadline. You want to make sure that you're doing this in a very kind and respectful, warm and polite way. And you also want to make sure that you're providing a way for them to decline. So the goal of the letter of recommendation is to get an understanding of who you are. If the person you're asking is declining to write you one, they probably won't be your best advocate regardless. So if your person is hesitant or is kind of searching for a way out, make sure you give them a way out, because if they don't want to write one, likely they won't write you a strong letter of recommendation. So that's really important. You want to choose someone who's familiar with your skills and goals and wants to see you succeed. So choose someone, maybe at your university, you have one very, very famous professor and you took one class with him. I know it may seem like you have to get his recommendation letter, but I would encourage you to choose someone who really knows you, who has worked with you, who has seen you grow, and things like that. I want to also encourage you to connect with a peer, either in the Crossroads program or beyond it, about country-specific practices. So I know from hearing from our alumni from Brazil last year, their universities weren't, their professors at their universities weren't so familiar with letters of recommendation. So they had to do a lot of research on, the requesting process, on how, and provide advice to the recommenders on how to write a letter of recommendation. Whereas I know in other countries, it's a much more standardized practice to have these letters of recommendation. So make sure you know what the country-specific practice about letters of recommendation is. If you're unsure, please consult a peer. You can email us as well at celpglobal@gmail.com, and we can try and connect you to an alumni if that would be helpful as well. So requesting a letter of recommendation, you can either do this over email or in person. I know I would encourage you to do this over email so that you're all staying safe with COVID. The letter does not have to be long. It can be less than a page. And like Mary mentioned, you would just input their email address in Submittable and they would submit the letter directly. So what that means is you wouldn't email us the letter, they would send us the letter. So your professor, your teacher, your community leader, they would send us the letter directly. It would not come from you. And so this is an email template, and we will email this to you, so don't feel like you have to, take a lot of notes right now. But it's really important that you stay positive, stay kind in the email, and you also really want to mention specifically why you want their letter of recommendation, because as a mentor, as someone who has seen you grow, it would mean a lot for them to understand why you're seeking their feedback and mentorship and advocacy specifically. So you want to say that you are applying to be a finalist of the Crossroads Emerging Leaders Program based at Harvard University, and you want to provide information on what Crossroads is. So, definitely provide a link to the program here so they can look and see that it's a program for low income, first and family to college students from all over the world. And then you want to request them to provide some words of affirmation that they would submit directly to us. And so this is an email sample of how to request one. We'll send this over to you as well. I know this was a lot of information, and we'll open it up for Q&A again right now. But again, we know that this is so much work. You're all balancing school. You're all balancing, for many of you are fasting because it's Ramadan. Many of you are, supporting your families, dealing with internet instability. So we really, really are so proud of you for making it this far. We're so excited to continue to get to know you. It's definitely my favorite part of the program is hearing your stories. So thank you for everyone who's already shared today. And I want to get to hear from many more of you during the Q&A that's coming up. So yes, good luck. I hope this has given you an idea of what is to come. Don't start doing these things right now, but wanted to give you a heads up so you can keep it at the back of your head. You can start deciding who you would like to request for a letter of recommendation. You can start thinking about, does my university have a registrar office that I can get my transcript from, things like that. Also for the resume and LinkedIn, these are really great steps for you to have for your professional and academic development anyway. So I would encourage you to, get started on those regardless of even just beyond the Crossroads Emerging Leaders Program. Cool. Lots of information. I see I just came back to the chat. There's 100 new messages. So I'm just gonna quickly see if there's some repeat questions. So Aldo is asking, Aldo is in South Sudan, and his previous university was in Uganda. So the question is, how would you access the university? If that is similar to your situation, I would encourage you to send them emails or call them directly to see how they can support you, because they should have these documents on file. They should be saved virtually, most likely. So there should be ways for you to access those documents, even if you are not in the same town, city, or country as your university. Santiago is asking how many letters are needed. You would need 2 letters of recommendation for your semifinalist application. Gideon is asking, do you submit the letters yourselves, or are the recommenders the ones to do it? Your recommenders will submit the letter directly to us. So the letter should not be submitted from you. It should be directly from the recommender. Andreza is asking, when do you have to send the recommendation letter by? Again, I think I want to make clear, you should not request your recommendation letter before you receive your invitation to the semifinalist round. We will start accepting students to the semifinalist round on a rolling basis starting on May 1st. So even if you don't hear from us on May 1st, that does not mean that you're not a semifinalist, because you may receive your acceptance a week later. This is kind of the same process that we followed with the Harvard X courses and Aspiring Minds. We know that some of you need more time, some of you are already done, so that's why we're doing it this way. But the deadline for submitting those documents will be shared with you on your invitation to the semifinalist application. Again, those of you who have been in the waiting room, who have friends in the waiting room, this is all being streamed onto YouTube, and you can consult the recording later on. Does anyone have a question? Lillian, do you have a question that I can help answer out loud? Sorry, I see you're eating, my bad. You can go ahead.
Hello, are you
Hi.
hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello guys, how are you? My name is Lilian, I'm from Brazil. I am very excited to be here. I just would like to know if the resume have to be one single page. And I also would like to share with you guys that I made a Google Sheet so everybody can access and put the name, the country, and where they, and the LinkedIn. So it's gonna be easy then just send through the message here, okay?
Okay, very cool. Thank you, Lillian, for making that. And then the first part, could you repeat the first part of your question, possibly?
Yes, so I was asking
Oh,
about the resume. It's only a single page, right?
yes.
Single page, okay, perfect.
Yes, so we
And
want
the
to,
letter, and the letter of the recommendation as well, it has to be one letter of recommendation or two letters, three letters as well.
great.
Thank you.
Okay, good questions. And I think many of your peers had the same question, so really glad you spoke up. So your resume should be one page or less. It doesn't have to be more than that, because the reality is we want to understand what's most relevant to you. And if you're listing 700 things, we can't figure out who you are because there's so many different things. So we want to understand you. We want to understand your story. So keep it to one page so that we can get a sense of who you are. In terms of the letters of recommendation, you need 2 letters of recommendation. Each of the length of those can be less than a page. It can be more than a page, whatever your recommender chooses to pursue. But again, I'm sure that they don't want to write more than a page, just because everyone in the world is busy. So you can say that it can be a couple of sentences when you're requesting them for the letter. So Ellen, I
Thank you
hope
so
that
much.
yes, of course. No,
Yes, for sure.
great. Thanks, Lillian.
I will send the Google link again so people can connect to each other, okay?
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, guys.
Ellen, I hope that also answers your question. If it's one letter or two, so it's 2 letters of recommendation. Gus is asking a good question, which is who is a good candidate to write your letter of recommendation? We want to make sure that it's someone who has seen you grow and is someone who has worked in a kind of supervisory or educational relationship to you. So the best candidates would be a current professor at your university, a work supervisor, a mentor that you have had personally, or a community leader. If you cannot get any of those people, please, you can be innovative with who it is, but we do request that you don't ask your mom or your dad or any family member to write your letter of recommendation, just so we can get a sense of who you are from an external perspective. Raphael is asking for clarity on the next deadlines of the program. So I will maybe we have some members of the Crossroads team who are active in the chat. Maybe you can also send these deadlines in the chat. But by April 30th, you need to complete a Harvard X course. By May, 1 week after April 30th, you need to complete your Aspiring Minds exam, and then we will start inviting semifinalists to apply to the finalist program starting on May 1st. And then the deadline for that application will be the end of May, so May 28th. All of this information will be sent to you via email. So if you're confused, that's what will happen. If you are not selected, you will hear back from us by the first 2 weeks of May. However, I just want to clarify that's just your experience in the Crossroads program does not have to end if you are not selected for the semifinalist round. Really encourage you to stay active in those faculty sessions with Harvard professors. Seeing a lot of LinkedIn's. For those of you who joined late or are having internet trouble hearing, all of this will be streamed onto YouTube, so you can consult the recording later on. Gabrielle is asking, does the recommendation letter need to be in English? So this is a really good question, and it's very important. Your recommender, if possible, can be in English. If they can absolutely not submit in English, then they can submit it as is, and we can translate it on our end. But we do really recommend that you find someone who can advocate for you in English. I know that many of you, most of you are not in English-speaking countries, so we understand that that's a difficult requirement. So if it's really a challenge for you, write to us and we'll see what we can do. Seeing a lot of WhatsApp groups, lots of LinkedIn profiles, that's good. You are each other's best resource to encourage each other and provide each other information. So that's great. Anna, I want to check in. So Anna's question is, can I temporarily provide them in Spanish? So again, at this point in time, you do not need to submit a recommendation letter. You do not need to submit your transcripts to us. At this point in time, please focus on completing your Harvard X course, on completing the Aspiring Minds exam, and also completing the Growth Mindset survey. So at this point in time, you cannot. When you receive the email, the semifinalist invitation from us, that's when you can begin these steps of requesting your letters of recommendation and requesting your academic transcripts. Anna, if you find that at that time that your recommenders can only write in Spanish, please email us and we'll see what we can do on our end. But thank you, Anna, for that question. Maybe we can hear from someone who has not asked a question yet. Mohammed Al-Sultan, do you want to maybe just share where you're joining?
Yes, please. Thank you. I would ask about Aspiring Mind. I have received an email. The deadline for the assessment is 1 May. So could you extend it to 1 week more? Because I have final exams in that week. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mohammed. So yes, we are able to provide case-by-case extensions depending on if you're undergoing a situation. So Mohammed's final exams are going on right now. If you are finding a conflict between your exam period for Aspiring Minds and your school exams, you can write to us and we can do our best to reschedule you for the exam. So please, you can write to us at celpglobal@gmail.com. Thanks for the question, Mohammed. I'm sure that was on many of your minds. Again, just to clarify in the chat, 2 letters of recommendation. I'm about 10 minutes behind in the questions in the chat, I'm realizing, so please forgive me. Vinicius, sorry if I said your name incorrectly. The deadline will be shared with you via email on your semifinalist application. So at this point in time, don't worry about the documents, don't worry about the recommendations. once you receive the invitation to that round, that's when you should start preparing those materials. For the university, so Ali is asking, for the university transcript, do you need an official transcript or can you get the unofficial transcript? Having your official transcript would be great. Sorry. If you're only able to access your unofficial transcript, then that's okay. But just write to us. Stay in communication with us about what is possible for you and what isn't, because we want to make it possible for you to succeed. So of course, your official transcript is preferred, but write to us if you can only access the unofficial one. Syrian again is asking about the language of the recommendation letter. If you can find someone who can write in English, that would be definitely the best option. But if you cannot, just write to us over email and we understand. I'm just gonna scroll to the bottom. So Zane is asking, being a freshman in college, we haven't been able to communicate with the professors properly due to the online model of classes. How can they write a letter for us? Yes, that makes a lot of sense. We completely understand. One way to navigate this is that you can ask someone who kind of knows you and maybe they're a professor you've only interacted with virtually, and then find someone else who really, really knows you, because you get 2 letters of recommendation. So you have 2, you have 2 opportunities to find someone who can advocate for you. So Zane, to answer your question, you can ask a professor from the past to fill it out for you. And then if you also want a professor from your current university, you can go ahead and ask them too. Maybe let's hear from someone out loud, someone we haven't heard from before. Tirath, do you want to share?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Ted. I'm from India. Firstly, before going to ask my question, I would like to pay my special thanks to PIRA, Metal Institute, and all the Crossroad team for organizing this wonderful program for us. My first question is that if we didn't get transcript from official our college, what is optional for us? Can we submit our semester? Because in India, due to COVID-19, we are facing lockdown and we cannot visit our colleges. So is it possible? Can we submit our semester mark sheet?
Yes. Tirth, is that correct? I want to make sure I'm saying your name right.
Yeah, Tirth.
Tirth. Okay, great. So Tirth's question was, India is facing the COVID-19 lockdown, and it's difficult to access the transcripts and all the documents from the university. In that case, so I'd encourage you to call the university. Call them. They might have someone in the office, even during the lockdown. They might have one person there who can get you the documents. If you cannot, you can submit your semester grades, but please make sure you are writing to us and keep us in communication, keep us in the loop, so we can understand your situation. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, second, my question is that if someone student got a COVID-19 means COVID positive and he is not able to complete his course till April 30th, so is there any way he can be apply for next round?
So the question is, if a student has, tested positive for COVID-19 or is facing any number of other issues and can't complete the course by April 30th, what happens? So we really, really do encourage you to complete the test, the courses, if possible, by April 30th, because that is somewhat of a firm deadline on our end. We can try and make case-by-case exceptions, and do our best to work with you and help you succeed. But again, April 30th is a bit of a firmer deadline. So I hope that answers the question too. But again, write to us over email. We want to do everything we can to help you succeed.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, of course. Thanks for asking your questions. Gonna get Bonolo, do you want to ask your question?
Good evening or good morning, New York time. Well, my question is this: with the transcript, are we going to be measured on our marks? Yeah.
Okay, well, first, just want to make sure everyone is on mute. Okay, great. So Bonolo's question was on the transcript. Do we assess you based on your grades on the transcript? Like I was saying, we do our best to not reduce you to your grades at all, because we understand that, you know, coming from low income backgrounds, you're all the first members of your family to attend college. You know, the same resources for success structurally don't exist for you as they do for other students, which is, you know, why the Crossroads Emerging Leaders Program exists. So we don't disqualify you or qualify you just based on the grades in your transcript. I hope, Bonola, that answers your question. Marcella, do you want to ask your question? Oh, I can't see you anymore. Mariana, do you want to ask your question?
Yes, I would really like to ask you a question. Good morning. Is there any problem if we request the letter of recommendations only to our community leaders, not to our professors? Because, you know, I just got into the university and I didn't have much contact with them. So I don't know if I would be comfortable to ask them for a letter of recommendation. And I really don't know if they would write me a good one because they don't know me at all.
Yes, great question. Definitely. You only need 2 letters of recommendation, and you can get those from a community leader for sure. Just someone who's maybe a little older, someone who's maybe seen you grow, someone who's worked with you in a supervisory capacity, anyone of those of that nature. So thank you, Mariana. That was a really good question. Again, please don't, you know, submit your letters of recommendation right now. Please don't request them right now. Wait until you get your invitation to the semifinalist round. And thank you. Marcella, I saw you pop up, so I want to come back to you if you're able to ask your question.
Hello, Tiara. Hello, everybody. I would like to know if the ones who did not qualify for the next stage and to send the recommendation letters and resume, if they are going to receive an email too, to be aware of the things.
Yes, you will receive notification on whether you are accepted to the semifinalist round by the end of the 2nd week of May. So that's coming up, so I guess in the next 2 or 3 weeks, you should hear back. And, you know, if our team is always here, you can email us at celpglobal@gmail.com. Our team is sending, you know, that email and other links in the chat. Also, just a quick, I want to, it's almost an hour and a half. You are all still so active, so that's amazing. I know some of you, it's still very early in the morning. Some of you, it's getting 9-10 p.m. So really appreciate that. Just really want to check in with Mary. Mary, if you're still here, thank you so much for sticking with us. I want to, Mary, maybe you can share something, and I also want to release you because you've already gone through all of this, so I don't want you to have to stay here unnecessarily. But Mary, if you want to say one last thing or share one last piece of information.
All right. So I always say this anytime there's a session that you should be confident in yourself and you should be ready to embrace anything that comes, whether you're accepted or not. If you're not, just prepare yourself better for the next application, and you should be open-minded. As for that, it is really needed, and You should always socialize. You should check up on their social media pages. You should email them if you have any doubts, any questions, any challenges or problems. You should always contact them. It's really helpful. They're always there to help you. And you should always be true to yourself. No need to lie about your situation just because you want to get in. They are available to help you and better you, depending on what you currently have. So if you are at A, they look at what you have and make sure that they can improve so that you can go to a D or even somewhere far better. So just be truthful, be open-minded, socialize, and always keep yourself updated about current situations. And yeah, you'll be everything will be good. And I know it's virtual, but trust me, it will be as good as in person. The faculty are amazing and they're always willing to help you better yourself. This course is really, really good, and I'm so glad that I participated and I'm an alumni. I'll be putting my information in the chat box so that in case you need any help, you can always contact me. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. It's so good to have you here. And, thank you so much for spending this time with the students. She's going to put her contact information in the chat. And yeah, please, if everyone can give like a round of applause for Mary for staying here for an hour and a half. I'm, in the middle of finals, in the middle of everything. So thank you so much for being here, Mary. Feel free to log off. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so again, since we're at the hour and a half mark, I want to be considerate of everyone's time. I'll take 2 more questions. And I know some of you, it's time for iftar, so really want to make sure you are able to take care of yourself. I'll take 2 more questions. Let's hear from Bilawal. Do you want to? Are you there? Can you? Okay, in the meanwhile, I will, Lori is still confused about the growth mindset survey. Lori, you should find that in your submittable application. So if you're confused, just check your submittable account and it will be there. John Washington, we can hear from you. There we go.
Hi, Tiara.
Hi. There.
Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, we can hear you.
So my question is,
yes.
I can access my transcript from my student portal. Can I use the transcript from my student portal?
If you are not able to get your official transcript, that should be okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Great. Thanks for your question, John. I'm sure many students have the same question. I'm gonna go back to, am I echoing a little bit? I don't know. Okay, great. Diane has not received an email for the Aspiring Minds assessment. Within 2 to 3 days of you completing your Harvard X course, that's when you will receive an email for your Aspiring Minds assessment. So you'll receive an email from Aspiring Minds with your login credentials and with details for the Aspiring Minds exam. Again, you don't have to study for the Aspiring Minds exam. It's more like a logical assessment of your thinking skills and also measures your logical thinking skills, problem solving skills. So I hope that answers that question. Answer one more question from the chat and one more question out loud, and then I think it's about time that we wrap up this session. Thank you so much for all sticking with it for an hour and a half. Ahmad is asking if there's going to be a session in Dubai this year. We really want to do our best to, help you all convene together. That's definitely our goal. However, with the COVID-19 crisis, we can't do so until it's safe for everyone around the world to convene physically. So this year, as of right now, there will not be a session in Dubai. But like Tarun said at the very beginning, our ultimate goal is to bring you all together physically in person somehow, in some way. So, in the future, that's definitely what we're working towards. Great. We can get one last question from someone raising their hand. Want to hear from someone haven't heard from before. Maybe Bilal, I see you now. Maybe you can round us off.
Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm from Pakistan. I just gave my MCAT test, and I'm just I was asking, what you see in the MCAT test? What's the?
Could you repeat your question?
I said I just gave my MCAT test, and what's the criteria that you see in the MCAT test to select the students?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the assessment, the AMCAT assessment generates a score based on your performance across the different kind of modules. So essentially we can see your scores on the different modules, and we can see kind of like the thinking strategy behind it. And we use that in our consideration for the semifinalist stage. I also want to emphasize that there's no single component that determines if you are considered a semifinalist. So maybe your AMCAT score wasn't perfect. That does not make you ineligible. You can still be eligible for the semifinalist round. And with that, I want to say thank you so much to everyone for being here. We're really, really proud of you for all the work you've put in on Harvard X. If you have questions lingering, you can reach us at celpglobal@gmail.com. And our team will put that email in the chat. I want to remind you all that please don't start, requesting your transcript, requesting your letters of recommendation until you receive the semifinalist invitation. I really want to emphasize that. Please just hold on, sit tight for a second. Once you receive that, you can go ahead, and then you will receive a longer application on Submittable that you will have a few weeks to complete. Vivian has asked if this is recorded. It will be recorded on YouTube. If you want to consult this later, please feel free to do that. Thank you all so much for being here. Really excited to continue to get to know you all. So wonderful to see you. Great. And if students are interested, we can host another live session like this to answer questions if that would be helpful for you. So that might be coming. So good to see you all, to meet you all, to see your beautiful faces. I hope you have all enjoyed seeing each other's beautiful faces. Yeah, and huge shout out to all of you for working so hard. If you want to chat amongst yourselves for a second, I'm gonna see if we can see if it gets too chaotic, but maybe I'll make it so that you can unmute yourselves now. So maybe if you want to try and chat, we can see if it gets too chaotic, but let's try it out.
Hi.
Hello, folks.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
everyone.
It was wonderful meeting
Hello,
guys.
Hello, guys.
Everyone.
Hello.
Hopefully we are passionate that
Hello,
we are going to
everyone.
do different in this world.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you. Hello,
guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Today night session.
It has got chaotic.
Hey.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, that was very cool. It got a little chaotic, but I hope you all enjoyed hearing each other's voices. I want to make it so that you guys can all actually chat and have conversations and get to know each other. Maybe that's where you can use your Discord servers and WhatsApp. So thanks so much. Clever, I agree. It was a great chaos. Again, our team is here if you need anything. I actually, maybe before we all log off, we can take a quick photo of everyone who's here. So just gonna, if you can turn your video on really quickly, you can try to get a snapshot of everyone in the room. Say cheese. So cute. Thanks everyone. I'm gonna take 2 more. Say cheese. All right, couple more. There's so many of you. Sorry. Thanks for staying patient. All right, last one. Say cheese. Thanks all so much for joining. And I hope to see you soon. Stay active, stay connected, and you know, feel free to share on social media all that you're accomplishing, and you can tag us with everything that has been sent in the chat. Thanks all so much for coming. You can find us on YouTube later.